Every time a plane takes off, millions trust their lives to machines and people they will never meet. For most, it's a routine flight, but history shows how a single decision, a hidden flaw, or an act of terror can turn routine into catastrophe in seconds. In this countdown, we are ranking the top 5 plane accidents that shook the entire world. Incidents where air crash investigations exposed vulnerabilities no one saw coming, triggered sweeping changes, and left scars that still shape aviation safety today. From crashes sparked by cockpit confusion to disasters that remain unsolved, each entry reveals the high stakes and human cost behind every flight. Which accident forced aviation to rewrite the rules forever? Let's begin with number 5. In the 5th place, Air India Express Flight 812 serves as a stark warning about the dangers of unstable approaches and the unforgiving nature of tabletop runways. On May 22, 2010, a Boeing 737-800 registration VTAX-5 approached Mangalore's runway 24 after a night flight from Dubai. The captain, fatigued and disoriented from sleep inertia, allowed the aircraft to remain high and fast on final approach. Despite repeated calls from the first officer to go around, the captain pressed on, touching down more than 1,700 meters into the 2,400-meter runway. With only a short safety area before a steep drop, the jet overran the end, plunged down a ravine, and erupted in flames, claiming 158 lives. The investigation found no mechanical fault, only human factors, ignored warnings, and a late, futile attempt to abort. In the aftermath, India's Aviation Authority mandated longer runway safety areas and strict stabilized approach monitoring, setting new global standards for airports built on plateaus. This tragedy exposed a critical gap in approach stability enforcement, reminding the world that in aviation disasters, a single overlooked warning can have catastrophic consequences. Number 9. The skies over Charki Dadri, India, became the scene of the world's deadliest mid-air collision. On November 12, 1996, Saudi Flight 763, a Boeing 747 departing Delhi, and Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907 and Ilyushin Il-76 descending toward the same airport, converged in non-radar airspace. Both crews were given clear altitude assignments, 14,000 feet for Saudia, 15,000 feet for the Kazakh jet. But in the haze of language barriers and cockpit confusion, the Kazakh crew descended below their assigned altitude. At 14,000 feet, the two jets collided head-on, tearing both aircraft apart and claiming 349 lives instantly. The tragedy exposed a critical gap. Without secondary radar or collision avoidance systems, controllers had no way to detect the error in time. In response, India mandated Mode C radar and TCAS, the Traffic Collision Avoidance System. That technology now guards every commercial flight in its airspace. The Charki Dadri disaster forced a new global standard for altitude reporting and airborne collision avoidance, redefining aviation safety after one of the most devastating airline disasters in history. In 8th place, United Airlines Flight 173 revealed how cockpit focus on a technical issue can override even the most urgent warnings. On December 28, 1978, a DC-8 bound for Portland circled for nearly an hour while the crew tried to diagnose a suspected landing gear problem. All the while, low fuel caution sounded, but the captain and first officer remained locked in troubleshooting. As the engines began flaming out one by one, the jet lost power and crashed into a suburban neighborhood just short of the runway. 10 people died, but the lessons reached far beyond Portland. Investigators found no mechanical fault, only a breakdown in communication, leadership, and task management inside the cockpit. This accident became the catalyst for crew resource management, a new training philosophy that broke down cockpit hierarchies and taught crews to speak up, share critical information, and challenge decisions when safety is at risk. Within 2 years, NASA and the NTSB had made CRM training mandatory for airlines worldwide, reshaping how every flight crew faces emergencies and forever changing the human side of aviation safety. Number 7. The skies above Oberlingen, Germany, became the stage for a catastrophic clash between automation and human authority. On the night of July 1, 2002, Bashkirian Airlines Flight 2937, a Tupolev Tu-154, and DHL Flight 611, a Boeing 757, converged at 34,890 feet. With only a single air traffic controller on duty and primary radar under maintenance, both crews received conflicting instructions in the final seconds. The controller ordered the Russian jet to descend, while the onboard TCAS, the automated collision avoidance system, commanded the opposite, instructing the crew to climb. The DHL crew obeyed their TCAS and dove. The Russian pilots, torn between technology and the controller's voice, followed the human instruction and descended. In a split second, the two jets collided over Lake Constance, killing all 71 people on board. The investigation exposed a critical flaw. Pilots needed clear guidance on which voice to trust. The aftermath led to a global rule. When TCAS and air traffic control disagree, pilots must follow the machine. This doctrine, born from tragedy, redefined the hierarchy in cockpits around the world, ensuring that automated safety systems take precedence when seconds decide the fate of hundreds. Number 6. Air France Flight 447 exposed a hidden danger at the heart of modern aviation. On June 1, 2009, an Airbus A330 cruising over the South Atlantic suddenly lost its reliable airspeed readings when all 3 pitot tubes iced over at 35,000 feet. Within seconds, the autopilot disengaged, leaving the crew facing a barrage of conflicting warnings and unreliable instruments. Instead of leveling the wings, the pilot flying instinctively pulled the nose up, pitching the aircraft into a high-altitude stall. For more than 4 minutes, the jet remained in a deep stall, descending rapidly while the crew struggled to make sense of the chaos. Not a single stall recovery attempt succeeded. All 228 people on board perished when the plane struck the ocean. The investigation by France's BEA revealed that gaps in training left pilots unprepared for unreliable airspeed and high-altitude upsets. In the aftermath, regulators mandated redesigned pitot tubes, required high-altitude stall recovery modules in simulators, and rewrote training manuals worldwide. Air France 447 forced the aviation industry to confront the limits of automation and the urgent need for better upset recovery skills, changes that continue to shape aviation safety after one of the most haunting plane accidents in recent memory. Number 5. Malaysia. Airline's flight MH370 stands as aviation's most haunting mystery. A modern jet vanished without a trace on March 8, 2014. The Boeing 777-200ER, registration 9MMRO, departed Kuala Lumpur with 239 souls bound for Beijing. 40 minutes into the flight, the aircraft's transponder went dark over the South China Sea. Radar contact faded, and all routine communications ceased. For 7 hours, only faint satellite handshakes, Inmarsat pings, hinted at a silent journey south across the Indian Ocean, mapping a vast arc that would define the world's largest search. Crews scoured 120,000 square kilometers of open water, but no wreckage was ever found in the primary zone. The absence of real-time tracking exposed a critical vulnerability. In 2014, a wide-body airliner could simply vanish beyond radar range. The loss of MH370 forced a reckoning in aviation safety. The International Civil Aviation Organization mandated the Global Aeronautical Distress and Safety System, requiring all commercial jets to transmit their position every 15 minutes, even over remote oceans. Today, continuous satellite tracking is standard, a direct legacy of the flight that disappeared into uncertainty. The fate of MH370 remains unresolved, but its legacy endures, closing a blind spot in global air crash investigation and forever changing how the world tracks plane accidents. Number 4. Pan Am Flight 103 shattered the calm of a December night over Lockerbie, Scotland, when a suitcase bomb detonated at 31,000 feet. The Boeing 747, registration N739PA, was en route from London to New York on December 21, 1988, when the explosion tore through the forward cargo hold. In a matter of seconds, the aircraft broke apart, scattering wreckage across 845 square kilometers and claiming the lives of all 259 passengers and crew, along with 11 people on the ground. The investigation traced the device to an unaccompanied bag, revealing a critical vulnerability in baggage handling and screening protocols. The aftermath forced a reckoning in aviation security. International authorities, led by ICAO, overhauled Annex 17, mandating that every checked bag must be reconciled with a boarded passenger and introducing explosive trace detection technology. Airports worldwide adopted new screening measures, transforming how hold baggage is processed and setting a precedent for proactive security against terrorism in aviation. The Lockerbie disaster marked a turning point, showing that the threat of deliberate attack could strike at the heart of airline safety, and forever changing the standards that protect passengers today. Number 3. Japan Airlines. Flight 123 stands as the deadliest single aircraft disaster in aviation history, a tragedy born from a hidden flaw. On August 12, 1985, a Boeing 747SR-46, registration JA8119, departed Tokyo's Haneda Airport for Osaka, carrying 524 people. Just 12 minutes into the flight, an explosive decompression tore through the aft pressure bulkhead, an area that had been improperly repaired 7 years earlier after a tail strike. The rupture severed all 4 hydraulic systems, leaving the crew with almost no control. For 32 agonizing minutes, the pilots fought to keep the crippled jet airborne, using only engine thrust and electric trim as the aircraft pitched and rolled uncontrollably over the mountains of Gunma Prefecture. Passengers wrote farewell notes as the jet oscillated wildly, losing altitude with each turn. At 6:56 p.m., the 747 struck Mount Takamagahara, killing 520 people and leaving only 4 survivors. The investigation traced the disaster to a single splice plate, installed contrary to Boeing's repair manual, compromising the bulkhead's strength and setting up a slow-motion catastrophe. The aftermath triggered sweeping reforms. Japan's transport ministry mandated non-destructive testing for all major repairs. The FAA introduced new quality assurance rules for structural work, and airlines worldwide overhauled their inspection protocols. Japan Airlines Flight 123 revealed how a single overlooked error in maintenance could lie dormant for years, then shatter hundreds of lives in an instant. Its legacy endures in every pressure test, every inspection, and every rule that now guards against invisible threats in aviation safety. Dense fog blanketed Los Rodeos Airport on March 27, 1977, as 2 Boeing 747s, KLM 4805 and Pan Am 1736, taxied on a single runway with almost no visibility. Radio exchanges between the Dutch crew and Spanish controllers became tangled in ambiguous language and stress. The KLM captain, facing mounting delays and a strict duty time limit, believed he had clearance to take off. As he accelerated down the runway, the Pan Am jet was still taxiing ahead, hidden in the mist. At nearly 140 knots, the KLM aircraft collided with Pan Am's upper fuselage, igniting a fireball that killed 583 people instantly. Investigators found that unclear phraseology, like the words "we are now at takeoff," and a lack of assertive crew resource management allowed confusion to spiral. The disaster forced the International Civil Aviation Organization to mandate standardized radio language and global crew resource management training, reshaping cockpit communication forever. And finally, in first place, the world watched in horror as 4 commercial airliners became weapons on September 11, 2001. American Airlines Flight 11 and United Airlines Flight 175 struck the Twin Towers of New York's World Trade Center. American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon. United Airlines Flight 93, after passengers fought back, came down in a Pennsylvania field. Nearly 3,000 lives were lost in a single morning, marking the deadliest day in aviation history. For the first time, the entire United States airspace was shut down, grounding thousands of planes and leaving airports silent. The attacks exposed vulnerabilities no one had imagined. Airliners could be used as instruments of terror. Cockpit doors were easily breached, and security protocols were unable to stop coordinated hijackings. Within weeks, sweeping reforms transformed global aviation. The Transportation Security Administration was created, no-fly lists expanded, and reinforced cockpit doors became mandatory worldwide. International agreements rewrote how intelligence agencies and airlines shared information. The 9/11 Commission's findings led to layered security measures, from advanced passenger screening to air marshal programs and biometric checks. These reforms, driven by the shock and devastation of that day, redefined what it meant to keep passengers safe. The September 11th attacks stand as the ultimate escalation in airline disasters, forcing an industry to confront the unimaginable and forever altering the landscape of aviation safety. Across all 5 aviation disasters, one pattern emerges. Catastrophe became the catalyst for progress. Each accident rewrote the rules that keep us safe. In aviation, every lesson is written in lives, and the pursuit of safety never ends.